the poverty in the south of Iraq is a whole new level. I mean, dudes like stealing pieces of tarps from Americans just to like patch holes in their tents and stuff. So that was kind of a shock. And then, you know, kids coming up asking for water and food and this kind of shit. You know, that was like new. Or if you get slowed down somewhere, dudes wanting cigarettes, tapping on your window. You know, like, so it was interesting to just sort of. It was kind of and in some ways it was good to get acclimated, but nothing really happened on that first 2 days. And then on day 3, we ended up hitting. Well, I mean, it didn't detonate, but ended up discovering an IED. The lead truck did, and this was between Fallujah and Baghdad, and so that was like our first real experience with doing anything for real in country, you know.
How many vehicles, like, just to estimate, like how many vehicles are in this log pack? Is this like a 40 vehicle?
It could have been more than that.
So it's massive.
Yeah, it took like 6 hours or so. I can't remember. It took hours and hours to fuel up. You know, all these. It took a long freaking time.
Oh man. So when did you finally pull into Ramadi? How many days did it take you to get there?
3.
3 days you pull into Camp Ramadi. And what's that like? I mean, settling in, you get moved into a barracks, or where'd you guys stay at?
No, yeah.
Tent City?
No, they didn't have any of that yet. There was a big MWR building at the front, and they just put us up in that, you know, where they had that boxing ring and that stuff in there. Okay. They just put us up in that in cots for a week or 2. I can't remember. But it was easier. I think it was easier for us in some ways to transit for the people that were going to go outside the wire. I think it was easier for us for the first, like, mentally for that first week, because when we hit that, or didn't, you know, when I say hit, it didn't detonate. But when we hit that IED, it's kind of like, you know, bathed in fire in some ways. Like, you just see all, like, what this war is really about to be for the next year. You know, it's like middle of the night. The Marines that were helping us, they came, you know, tapped on the door and were like, hey, we need help. You know, and you want to go? I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I want to go. So it's like AT4 and, you know, like, let's go. And so it was me and Johnny and these 2 Marines went out up this det cord. So what they'd found an IED, and, you know, it's like, honestly, after I'd been there for a while, looking backwards, it's a very obvious setup, right? There was an IED, and then this dude's prayer rug and his driver's license was just left there, you know, it's like, or his ID card, not driver's license, but so we were told we don't have time, you know, EOD can't make it, whatever. Just trace that det cord, and if it goes into the house, because it was going out into this compound, you know, like olive orchard type stuff. It's like, if it goes into the house, just frag the house and come back. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was so freaking stoked, man. So we hit the edge of this compound, you know, under knobs.
And this is you and then 2 Marines and your buddy Johnny?
Yeah, my first line leader at the time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he stayed my first line leader, but it was before I got promoted. And it was, you know how they'd have those big, obviously you know, but they'd have those walls, you know, cinder block walls. Well, this one had a gate that was locked, and then it had you could see there was a hole in the sides. We're like, well, we'll just go through the hole. So we go around, and as we come around that hole, you could hear a generator running. I just assumed that it was in the back or something, but you could hear a generator running, and then this dog starts barking, like this little yappy dog. And we're like, in my mind, the only thing we got going for us right now, just 4 men, is that nobody knows we're here, you know, within this compound. I don't exactly want to take plunging fire in this compound with just 4 dudes very badly. So now I'm like, I can't wait to blow that effing dog up, man. I'm trying to hit that dude with my frag. So I'm thinking that as we're coming around toward the front of home, and then once we take the right, you know, so we skirt the house here and then take a right towards the actual front, and you could see the det cord going into the house. And I was like, oh yeah, man, it's about to be on. So we go around the det cord, and then there's a kind of a half-ass, like a stoop, not a true porch, but like a stoop. And on that stoop was these sandals all laid out in like succession. You could tell it was like dad, mom, you know, son, older daughter, and then baby daughter with like these little 2-inch pink sandals. Man, I had a little sister. I still do, but I was very close to her at the time. She was like 6 or 7 at that time. And man, that hit me like a freight train, you know, whoa. You know, it's you're not just killing bad guys all the time, you know.
So what ended up happening?
We went all the way around. It ended pretty good, actually. We went all the way around, and the det cord came out and went into his orchard in the back. So we traveled through it a little bit, and then one of the Marines said, hey, I'm going to pull a pin flare out or pop a pin flare, and Johnny didn't hear him. So I'm like over here, like in the small echelon, and Marine pops out the pin flare, and Johnny just hits the deck in the middle of his orchard. So I got a good kick out of it. But we stopped there for a minute, and we just see that the det cord was going out somewhere, and there was 2 dudes up in another home on a balcony smoking cigars, you know, with AKs. But it was like, well, anyway, depending on the situation, but we weren't, you know, nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
so you just walk back to the vehicles.
That's basically it.
Up.
But the thing is, like, almost guaranteed, those dudes were waiting to see what we would do. Like, almost guaranteed, they were the ones that set it up and everything. And I mean, what are you doing smoking cigars on your deck at 2:40?
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't even answer that question because they would be doing the most wild, crazy, like unknown things that you'd ever have imagined in a million years.
It's true.
You know, like for instance, 2:40 in the morning. I mean, I had a guy approach a target one time, and my Terp's yelling at him, and the guy's like carrying a box with him. And he's walking towards, we're assaulting a target. This was in Baghdad. We're assaulting a target, and this guy's walking up looking super suspect. And my Terp's like, hey, there's 50 cals pointed at him, and like, hey. And so finally, I just aggressively approach him. And or no, we told him put the box down. So he sets the box down at his feet, and I get over. So I go like grab this guy, and as I'm going to grab him, he like pulls something out of his pocket, and I'm so close to him. I had my weapon. I like smashed his hand with my weapon, and he dropped this little remote that he was carrying.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, it sounds all cool. Here's the deal, though. This dude was drunk. You know, once we got to the bottom of it, he was drunk, and in the box was a video machine, and he had been over at his buddy's house watching porno and getting drunk with his buddy. You know, and I almost smoked him. You know,
He might have deserved it.
But they do some dumb shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
And so you never know.